Brian, what is Below?
Below is a game at its core that is about survival, exploration. You're just a small character that's come to the island to explore, and you go down in the depths and discover what's there. And, while you're there, you encounter lots of enemies. There's a lot of tough combat involved, but also a lot of story and puzzles and things to discover.
One of the things I discovered straight away is it's very tight mechanically. Like, combat's pretty on par. Do you want to explain a bit about that?
Sure. I mean, we wanted the combat to be, very challenging. So there's lots of enemies that can kill you quickly, but we want it to be exactly as you said, tight. You want to be able to learn from an enemy how they behave, and you might get your butt kicked the first time you encounter them, but you'll learn how to fight that enemy, and over time you will get better at doing so.
And the thing is, though, if you're not good enough, you die.
You will die. Dying is expected. And in Below, if you die, that character is dead for good. So while the world will regenerate, and like the maps and everything all change, they're procedurally generated, but there are things in the world that you can impact persistent change going forward. So if, say, as a character you had found a cool sword and you really wanted to go find that and use it again, you could, in your new life as a new character, go and explore and find that old corpse and find those items, things like that. You might maybe have opened some doors, they might maybe stay open, so you can impact persistent change in the world, even though it is a procedural and has some roguelike qualities.
So basically, the caverns will eventually be full of corpses.
There will be many corpses. You're expected to die a lot.
And the art style is pretty striking as well. How did you get inspired to do that?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we put a lot of work into the lighting, and our artists back at Capy are fantastic. I mean, we're really happy that almost every little screen of Below is just a fantastic scenery piece on its own.
As you said before, the lighting. Light is a very important part of Below.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially the deeper you get, the darker it gets. And using your light wisely, conserving your torches and things like that so you have light so you can see where you're going, but balancing that with, holding a shield instead of a torch so you can still be defensive. We always want you to play with that balance.
Now, for new players coming into this that may not be familiar with roguelikes or brutally hard games, what pointers can you give?
I mean, with Below, we want you to experiment, Go out, learn. If you, say, stumble across a trap, walk on it, die, that's fine. You've learned something. You now will be able to identify that trap in a future play. And, as you play more and more, you'll learn from those experiences and you'll just get better. So don't be afraid to try and experiment. It's what the game's about.
What actually made you go into that roguelike permadeath state? That's a pretty bold move.
Yeah, I mean, we really like the idea that it is challenging. We don't want it to be a cakewalk. We don't give you regenerating health. We're happy to have the player themselves sort of learn from their experiences rather than you just level up or grind out and get better. We don't want you to be able to do that kind of thing.
Now, it's an RPG at its core as well, kind of. Does it have gear and unlockables?
Yeah, I mean, so there are some elements in that sense. You don't ever level up a stat with a character. That character is basic, but you do find different gear. So you can find, you start out with a sword and shield, basic combo, but as you explore, you might find a hammer or some bows and arrows, things like that. And so it is the gear and things you find that you can use to sort of tone your play style to what you like, or even potentially, you might try and use the right weapon to go into different areas because you're going to fight this one type of enemy that you like using a certain weapon with.
Exploration, I assume if I played it for long enough and didn't keep on dying, I'd come across some sort of boss creatures?
Yeah, I mean, there will be definitely some sort of boss-like creatures, bigger encounters like that. I mean, it's up to the players to explore and find them.
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. Next week, we're talking hockey as Johnny Robot catches up with EA Sports to chat NHL 16, and we hang out with Gearbox to discuss their new one, a brand new FPS named Battleborn. In the meantime, you can catch us at the redesigned playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.